Hey guys, today's podcast episode I am plagiarizing from Isaac Newton, the famous physicist from the 17th century. And it is the name of his third law of motion, which is called every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So let's talk about that. So I want you to know that I see this physics principle embodied every single day in my work as a therapist. And I want to give you an example. So it's of a client I'm going to call John. John, like many men, not all, I'm not going to make a huge stereotype here, but many, has a hard time with sustained eye contact. And his wife, who I will call Nicole, like many women, but again, not all, needs a lot of sustained eye contact and has a really hard time not getting this from John. Now, is John aware of this? No, because he doesn't feel the need himself to receive sustained eye contact from anyone. So he has no awareness or insight that it actually drives Nicole crazy. And that's why she's angry with him much of the time. Unfortunately, Nicole doesn't really seem to either have that awareness or that insight into herself. She just knows that she's angry with him all the time. So, a little background on me as a therapist, real quick, that is pertinent here. What makes me a good therapist is not that I magically know everything, because I sure don't, but that I am very in touch with my own humanity, my own feelings. And that allows me to have empathy. And so when I put myself in the shoes of Nicole and imagine what it's like to need sustained eye contact and not be getting it from my primary attachment figure, I have a lot of empathy and I can only imagine how hard that is. So the only way we can have empathy is by imagining what that is like for someone. And we need to be able to feel all of our feelings, including the very painful ones, in order to have empathy. So it's not an easy thing to do, but it is a necessary part of being a good therapist, a good friend, or a good parent. Once I was able to see this dynamic and reflect it to John, it really helped things. And he started making more eye contact with Nicole, such as when he would return home from work and he would look her in the eyes and ask her about her day. And he has just, in general, tried to stay off all of his screens that detract his eye contact away from her while in her presence. So it's gone really well. And these little changes have actually changed everything. It actually created a cascade of beneficial change. So John began to do this more, and he is finally feeling at peace in his own home because Nicole is not always angry at him for reasons he cannot fathom. He is getting his own needs met in the marriage, and his mental health has vastly improved. So this is proof that Isaac Newton, our 17th century physicist, was far more profound than he even imagined at the time. That his third law of motion, that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction, is in fact true, and it relates to all of us every single day. As a therapist and as a human, I could not agree more. When John failed to give Nicole regular eye contact, the reaction was hostility and rejection. Yet when John displays embodied love to his wife by giving her the attunement she needs, even though he himself cannot relate to it, he can't relate to having that need for sustained eye contact, the reaction is kindness and affection. It's a win-win. The late Sue Johnson, the famous psychologist, once said in an interview that even our craziest behaviors make complete sense when we understand the emotional framework of that person in the moment. From an attachment perspective, Nicole's need for sustained eye contact is actually very healthy, but her reactivity to not getting it from John is rooted in her early childhood, where she herself did not receive consistent eye contact from her primary attachment figure. This creates a great deal of shame for a child because children naturally conclude that the reason they don't get the consistent attunement that they need from their attachment figure is because of them, that it's a me problem, and that creates shame. When this is triggered in the present by John, her current attachment figure, this shame comes up for Nicole and she doesn't want to feel it. So she deflects it onto him in her anger and blames him. And this is not an uncommon dynamic. Maybe everyone listening can relate to this. John's difficulty with his sustained eye contact or giving that is rooted in how he consistently was deprived of it as a child. He learned early on to shut down this innate human need for connection because it is far too painful for a child to feel that need when it is not being met. And this, again, is not uncommon, especially in boys. He built up defense mechanisms to no longer feel any need for it at all or any need for emotional intimacy, which now makes him feel uncomfortable with any level of eye contact whatsoever. I find this to be, unfortunately, a very common dynamic between men and women because even today, unfortunately, baby boys are not given the same attunement as our baby girls. For some reason, I don't know why, but baby boys are being thought to not need the same level of intimate connection or eye contact as baby girls. I'm not sure why parents conclude that their baby's biology makes them have different needs for human connection, but unfortunately they do. They conclude that all the time, and it is very distinct. But this myth has pervaded our culture and created countless damage for us all that we're still experiencing in our lives today. Isaac Newton had another profound insight that applies to human relationships. With this one you might be more familiar with. It's called the law of inertia. And it's actually his first law of motion. This is the idea that an object at rest will stay at rest and an object in motion will stay in motion unless an outside force acts upon it. Let me give you an example of how this applies to relationships. Both my daughter and my husband have accused me of needlessly repeating myself over and over, which is, I guess, annoying to them. I can't fathom why. For the longest time, I wondered, why do I do this? But one day it hit me. I think I'm repeating myself because I am waiting to finally feel heard, but receiving no sign that I actually have been heard, such as someone reflecting, "Oh, got it," or "Wow," or "I hear you." Once I receive one of those statements, I'm good because it indicates to me that what I've said has landed, and I naturally stop repeating myself. Go figure. But having this insight into myself has allowed me to help my loved ones better understand me and give me what I need by just saying, "Oh, got it. Wow, I hear you." It's real simple. And then everyone's happy. It's a win-win. I started noticing the same dynamic in the lives of my clients and their loved ones. For example, one man told me how tired he is of hearing his wife repeat endlessly how she needs to get in better shape and start going to the gym, and she never follows through. So I encouraged him. Well, first of all, I realized that she is repeating this because she's likely not getting what she needs from him. And so I encouraged him to respond to her the next time she says this with, "Yeah, you know what? Going to the gym is probably going to feel really good. How can I support you in this way?" And he did. And guess what? Guess what happened? She stopped repeating over and over that she needs to get in shape and go to the gym. And she actually went to the gym and she stopped repeating herself, and everyone was happy. Voila, she finally got what she was looking for. Relational inertia happens when our needs go unmet by the other person and we get stuck repeating ourselves in our words or our actions. Those needs may entail something as simple as feeling like we matter, feeling like we've been heard, or feeling validated. When we understand what these needs are and empower those around us to meet them, it is a win-win. Insight into ourselves allows us to better love others and to receive love from them. And love, I've found, is always the outside force that resolves our inertia. Thank you, Isaac Newton. I bet you never thought your discoveries would help so many of us today. Guys, please subscribe to this podcast. Please share this with a friend. And please give me a great review. Thank you so much.